Welcome to Road America as Ferrari turns this fantastic circuit red for this weekend of the Ferrari Challenge. An extraordinary place just outside the village of Lake. This extraordinary track, some 4 miles long and really challenging for the drivers, will offer a fitting test in the sunshine as well as the weather conditions are glorious and set for our drivers across their races this weekend as we reach the very sharp end of Ferrari Challenge North America for 2023. Having been to Miami and Cota and Road Atlanta and Montreal and Sonoma, here we find ourselves then at Road America, ready for the lights to go green. What a sight this is. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Ferrari Challenge North America here at Road America with Trofeo Pirelli Race 1. In prospect, and drivers and support staff all getting ready for what will be a hugely entertaining race across our Pirelli drivers and Pirelli&AM drivers as well, I am sure. You can see it's a lively event and a lively affair here as we continue our 2023 calendar. And here we are in Road America with just the Finale Mondiale to come in Mugello after this weekend, but that, of course, comes right at the end of October. And from here in Wisconsin to Tuscany, that's a track and a half. Shay Adam, good afternoon. You're with us in the booth.
Good afternoon, Dave. Yes, it is a great place to go to. Italy in the fall, but right now, Road America, it's pretty hard to beat Elkhart Lake. The weather is perfect. And where exactly are we? Well, we're basically a little bit north of where Toronto is, to put it in perspective, but we are in the upper Midwest, about 2 hours north of Chicago or an hour north of Milwaukee. Beautiful land here, and it is cheese country, bratwurst country, corn country. And we're right in prime time for all of that as autumn is about to come down and rain upon this beautiful circuit. It is 4.048 miles, 14 turns, newly repaved, very slick surface, lots of up, but even more down, and then a lot more back up. It's all uphill from Canada Corner. You've got Canada Corner, turn 12, the kink, the carousel, turn 5, turn 3, and of course turn 1, all with their own personalities. And need I neglect turn 14? That seems to be the most important of all of them, Dave.
Absolutely, that run up the hill as you head towards the start-finish line, of course, and what a sight that is. And we have gorgeous temperatures of around about 22 degrees in the air, 30 degrees the track temperature, and just a little wind just to give us a little breeze of 10 kilometers per hour at the moment, which is just taking the edge off the heat. But it truly has been a lovely day here in Road America, and conditions set almost perfect for racing to come this afternoon. But before we get into racing this afternoon, of course, let's catch up where we were last. That was in the Napa Valley of California, Sonoma. Here we are in California with the sun shining and the Sonoma Raceway proving to be a huge attraction to not only the drivers but the spectators that want to see some real race action on what is termed a very old school circuit. We bring the Ferrari Challenge to Sonoma and we know it's going to entertain. It was an epic event. We expect this to be an epic event as well. As you can see, lots and lots of people here to enjoy the action to come from the Ferrari Challenge this afternoon here in Road America. Great shot that is of the cars lined up there, and lots of, as I say, eager fans to experience. And there was a driver's autograph session just a little while ago. Get up close and personal with your favorite driver. It's a great opportunity for these people to really enjoy banter with Ferrari Challenge drivers, because they're a great bunch of people, Shay, aren't they?
They really are.
Fantastic characters.
I tell people all the time, every weekend, they say, "Oh, you're in Ferrari Challenge." I said, "Yes, this is the place to be," because everyone is happy. And there's nobody who gets out of their car and goes, "Oh, I can't believe that this happened and this happened." No, everybody goes, "I had a great lap. I had one lap where I strung it all together perfectly, and my coach was so proud of me, and everyone is just joyous to be able to drive a Ferrari at some of the best racetracks in North America. This is the series to be in.
Very much so, and of course we have the privilege of talking about it, and we've been to some fantastic tracks this year, and we continue that quest through our 2023 calendar as here we are in Road America. Fantastic looking at those 488 Challenge Evo cars down there. Wonderful stuff.
The last time, of course, that we'll see them racing here is the primary class because the new car is on order for next year. So that will be exciting for the 2024 season. But right now, the drivers enjoying the 488s and getting as much speed out of them as we've ever seen.
And when you speak to drivers, you know, you were saying there, when you've hit the sweet spot with this car and you get it absolutely right, it's so rewarding as a driver. You absolutely love it, you know, to come away thinking, my goodness me, you know, because they're an epic beast to drive.
They are, and they require the ultimate commitment and trying to find the last hundredths of a second to be able to go just that tiny bit quicker than your rivals, because that's what really matters. You don't want to break a lap time around here. You're doing that unintentionally. But the good news is these drivers have a lot of laps to get to try and do that.
Okay, it's time to get proceedings underway then, and we call upon Mr. James Valenti for the national anthem.
L'Italia se desta, dell'elmo di Scipio si è cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma, che schiava di Roma il Dio la creò. Stringiamoci a forte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamoci a forte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò, sì. So proudly let the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the rampart we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets reglaid, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Rapturous applause for a job very well done there. So, Ferrari Challenge Trofeo, Pirelli. We're looking forward to the 30-minute race to come then from our drivers, the mix of Pirelli and Pirelli&AM drivers. And Shay and I, just before getting ready to broadcast this race, talking about the runners and the riders in both categories, and it's wide open. Although we've reached the sharp end of this championship, Shay, still everything to fight for a number of drivers.
Yeah, and a big problem happens to be these drivers who come in who aren't in the championship hunt. You've got drivers like Manny Franco, who's missed a couple rounds this year, so he is not in it for the championship, but he still manages to take away wins. 3 wins, 3 poles, 4 fastest laps, 4 podiums out of his 6 starts on the year, and this is his home race. He's just come off of the first win for the 296 in North America at this track ×2. Yes. He's feeling the momentum on his side.
And if you're a racing driver, whether you're in the championship chase or not, if you're a racing driver and you're getting into a racing car, there's only one place you want to be, and that is P1. Irrespective of who is doing what behind you or around you, all you're focused on is absolutely that checkered flag and being the first across it.
It's true. And I mean, we look at the lineup for the start of the race in Trofeo Pirelli. Matt Kurzejewski, the championship leader, on pole position, looking for another win. But behind him, Manny, as we just mentioned, Triarsi, another guy coming in, making his debut in the championship this weekend for this category. He's a champion of previous categories.
Yes.
Further down in past years. He's gotten wins at Road America and Ferraris. Last year was the most recent time, so he knows how to go around here well. Dylan Medler, a guy who's gotten a pole position. He's made it onto the podium this year, but he's still looking for that first win. Jason McCarthy, a guy who the last time we raced here, 2 wins in the Trofeo Pirelli category. Michael Petramalo, again, another one of those guys who made the big jump up out of category. He's trying to get to the podium for the first time. So a lot of competitors down there who could steal a trophy. Amanda, who do you have your eye on?
Well, I have my eye on a guy that wants another trophy here this season, and he took pole earlier today. And Shay, I know you guys have talked about, we do have mixed class racing here in this class, Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli&AM. Well, that guy's going to lead the Trofeo Pirelli&AM class to the green flag here at Road America. And Justin, this year you've just been coming into your own. Are you in championship defense here or offense?
Definitely defense. My coach and dad are yelling at me to be smart and not do anything stupid or impulsive. So I'm just going to be calm and just bring the car across the line.
Well, good luck to Justin as we work down into the Trofeo Pirelli&AM class. Tony Davis is here with us this weekend as well, and we're going to have a special showing tonight of fireworks that have been provided by Tony Davis, but there might be some fireworks on track today. How do you mitigate the risks that come with Road America?
I think you got to be really careful of staying online. Getting offline is very dangerous here, and I think you have to be extremely careful on passing. I think the brake markers are very different when you're passing, so pretty cautious track right now.
Okay, little insight on what we're going to see tonight.
This is actually going to be an absolutely world-class display. We have some of the world's largest, most complicated, best fireworks literally in the world. The only other place you can see them in the United States besides here tonight is Disney.
Well, we've talked a lot this weekend how some drivers, it's their first time to Road America, but there are other drivers that do have experience here at Road America. And starting P5 on grid, that will be Mark Muzzo right here. He's going to give us a lap around Road America.
Hi, I'm Mark Muzzo, driver of the number 13 car with Ferrari of Ontario, and I'm here to take you for a lap around Road America. Coming up to the start-finish at Road America, getting to 7th gear. We're getting ready for turn 1. Your brake point is the orange marker there, gearing down to 5th gear. Carrying enough speed, rolling speed, gearing on the throttle quickly. Driving down to turn 3, braking at the end of the wall, down to 4th gear, getting tight early apex, and then on the power fast, get down for the next long straight. You'd be down to 7th gear here, and braking just at about the 300 marker. Back to the throttle up the hill, pull up to 5th gear, and then braking right by the fence, down to 4th, getting in tight, back on the throttle again, and approaching next corner in 5th gear, slight breathe on the throttle, back to full power, coming down, you're into 5th gear, and then down to 4th, right into the apex, back on And as you're approaching the bridge, you're pulling into 5th gear and then fluttering into the carousel, trying to maintain as much throttle as you can, getting tight to the apex as you approach the end so you can get back to full power, opening up the hands quickly so you don't lose the rear, and then tapping the brakes slightly in 6th gear at the 200 marker into the kink, back to full power, making sure you're in position. This will be at 7th gear towards the end into the Canada corner, then braking right down to 4th gear at that 400 marker and tight to the apex, getting onto the throttle quickly because you got a big climb uphill, staying to the right, and then a quick breathe on the throttle and then back to full power here. And as you're approaching the last corner, you're down to 4th gear, making sure not to blow this because it's a high-speed straight. You want to make sure you finish the lap and start your next lap at good speed. And that is the full lap of Road America.
Thanks so much to Mark Muzzo. I have to say, Shay, watching that with my favorite onboard camera is always the splitter cam because it's so down low, the sheer speed and the undulation of this track. It is awesome.
It is, and it's frequently known as America's Park of Speed because of that. You feel like you're driving through a normal park with trees on either side, but you're doing it at 150 miles an hour for most of the lap. So it is a crazy place to get to come to, and thank you so much to Mark Muzzo for the lap around. He's another guy who's got a lot of experience here, looking to build upon that because he did have some success the last time he raced here. But we've got a couple of guys in this field who have a lot of success racing at Road America, one of them being a fairly new face to this paddock. John Bennett is a man who is a multi-time champion in IMSA racing. He's won at Road America numerous times, and now he's going to see if maybe Road America can be his breakthrough win in Ferrari Challenge.
After, I don't know, 11 or 12 seasons in IMSA WeatherTech, my co-driver Colin Brown, got a great opportunity with Mike Shank driving the GTP car, and I thought that might be a good opportunity for me to take a break, a retirement from racing. All I could think about was racing, and I just thought, what would be interesting and different, but still in racing. And so Colin had done some coaching here at Ferrari Challenge and talked about how great the events were, and I bought a car, and here I am. And we've definitely had a lot of success here at Road America, and with my team's support at Corse years ago. So Road America has treated me very well, and I always love coming here and visiting Elkhart Lake. And then you add, driving a Ferrari with a lot of other guys that enjoy the brand, and the car is just a fantastic race car. So I'm just having a blast, and I haven't been in the series very long, but it's so great to quickly become part of the Ferrari family here. I have a couple of Ferrari road cars that they're certainly fun, but you can't drive them like this, of course, and so it's really great to be part of the family, and then also be able to enjoy the product and the brand, the way it was designed, as fast as you can go, and I'm having a blast.
Lovely to hear from John Bennett, and as he says, Shay, he is having a blast.
Yeah, this is what got him back out of retirement. He briefly mentioned Corse, which was a team that he owned and operated, put all the right people in place, and they actually got a factory effort to represent a different manufacturer and did so with a lot of success for very many years. So John Bennett is a successful businessman and a very successful driver as well. Looking forward to see what he can do in the race today, and then of course tomorrow, because it's a 2-race weekend.
Indeed, don't rule John Bennett out from his row 4 starting position for Foreign Cars Italia, as the car's now making their way towards the grid. And of course, part of the atmosphere, as he said, is being part of this Ferrari family, and a big part of that, of course, is the hospitality that is provided. And I think Amanda Busig has got a head start over there.
Hey, David, I'm just a couple hundred yards away from where we were just on the grid, so you can imagine the viewpoint that you're going to get from this week's hospitality here at Road America. And I want to start it outside just so that you can see the Ferraris parked behind me. We have over 400 clients here this weekend, and the test driving of Ferraris is part of that experience. But, Dave, this is also going to be really important because look over there. That's where the podium celebrations are going to happen. So there's going to be some champagne sprayed there later. But hey, I want to get to what everyone is interested in. What happens inside these gates? This is the hospitality here at Road America. It is their Casa Road America. Dave, I know you'll remember hanging out at the Casa Ferrari at Pebble Beach. You might remember these garments that I got from Ferrari, so you can too get those on Ferrari.com. But here in hospitality, your friends, your family can hang out. There's local Italian fare. You can get some gelato. That's what I like to do. I've seen you get a couple scoops as well, Dave. Shay, I don't know about you yet, but I imagine gelato might be your fare too. There's drivers in here, friends and family. I did see Bruce Cleveland hanging around here just recently. I was going to stop and interview him, but hey, those cars are out on track. That means we're about to go racing, but before we do, I have to get an espresso just to join you guys on pit road.
Well, I can tell you, Amanda, certainly when you mention the gelato, Shay's always beaming face, beamed just a little bit more.
Yeah, I might have sampled that yesterday, Amanda. Not going to lie, went over. The chocolate and the vanilla are both very good, and then they've got M&Ms too that you can put on top. I might have gotten some criticism for over M&Ming. I don't think there is such a thing, but yeah, the Ferrari hospitality, one of the highlights of every single weekend for us that we are privileged to get to go in there. I love when they fly in the pasta chef.
Yes.
That is truly special.
It's like everything, isn't it? With regards to Ferrari, it's done properly.
It is. And the best part of Ferrari hospitality, not only the food, the exquisite atmosphere that they build for you, it's the fact that so many of the sponsors are involved with it as well. Like you can go over and look at the Misahara jewelry if you're so inclined. If you have a very good weekend and you want to bring something home for your other half to signify the good weekend, you can do that.
Absolutely.
If you want to look at perhaps maybe going somewhere special with your family, you can talk to the wonderful people from VistaJet. I mean, the opportunities in hospitality aren't just limited to food.
And the great thing is that, it is, I mentioned the ambience going into that piece, and it is this, the Ferrari family and the wonderful atmosphere there is, and the camaraderie and friendship that there is too. And, when these ladies and guys are out there racing, of course, it's uber competitive. Of course it is, but the moment the race is over, there is so much camaraderie and friendship among the paddock. It is wonderful to see, and I think it's true of this series. It's not so true of many others.
It is unique from this series, from racing globally across the world, because everyone can let their bygones be bygones and just sit down and share a glass of wine at the end of the day, or sit there and think, you know what, you got me coming out of 14 today, but I'm not going to let that happen tomorrow.
Yes.
And there's a bit of laughing, but in other series, there's a bit of vitriol behind that as well.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We're looking at the car of Brian Cook then. The Ferrari of Seattle driver who in class qualified P3. Remind you that we have a mix of drivers. We have Pirelli and Pirelli&AM drivers in the same race. It's a multi-class race. Two categories then. The Pirelli drivers have the red strip across the top of the windscreen. The AM drivers with the white strip across the top of the windscreen, and the cars all lining up down there in the pit road right now.
You mentioned Brian Cook in that. He's a driver to watch today for sure. A win and a pole position in the last race. And out of the last 4 races, he's gotten 3 podiums. Brian on a fine form of fashion. But we got to chat with him a little bit earlier in the week and learn a little bit more about the Cookie Monster.
It's great. It's been a great season, my first full season, and really enjoying it. Really love this place. First time here, I used to watch Indy cars here in the 90s, and to be here and experience it's absolutely fabulous. Yeah, I guess I raced a long time ago, 25 years ago in Australia. Built my business, and then so returned to racing after a long time. And I guess at a Ferrari, met a whole bunch of great Ferrari people that I really liked, and I guess Ferrari made it so easy to go racing that here I am, racing Ferraris in America. Getting my first win at Sonoma was absolutely fabulous. It was cool. It was a tricky win. We were stuck in between a few cars and had to be patient and not get too excited, and it worked out really well, so it was good to finally get that one.
Brian is a classic example of just the loveliness of the competitors in the Ferrari Challenge. He's a great guy to talk to. It's so much fun, and great to have that little feature with Brian Cook, as you name him the Cookie Monster.
It's something that came from his team. At one point, they wrote Cookie on his fire suit to denote, because they said when he gets out there and he's in the right mood, the right mental attitude, nothing can stop him. And I just love the success that Brian Cook has had across this year. Started out super strong with the pole position at Homestead Miami Speedway, and ever since then just been building back up slowly throughout the course. And it's been wonderful competition this year between he and Justin Rothberg to see who's going to get a pole position, because coming into today, they were equal on it. Well, now the advantage goes to Rothberg, but look who's right behind him coming to the green flag. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you bet. And you can see the cars jostling for their appropriate position right now, and the cars all getting into order then. I remind you, both Pirelli and Pirelli&AM drivers. And what a fight there is going to be as we head into the first lap of this 30-minute sprint race from the Ferrari Challenge. Pole position for Pirelli drivers Mark Kurzejewski. Pole position for the AM drivers, Justin Rothberg, who's going to behave himself out there, so he said to Amanda. He's going to keep a cool head and just think about the long game here. And, of course, the long game is reaching its conclusion, because after this weekend here in Road America, there is only the World Final. Only, I say, in Mugello. And then it's another season in the book for the wonderful Ferrari Challengers. We look at the car of Manny Franco.
And the interesting thing, Dave, I went through and calculated all the points possibilities for this weekend. And could anyone potentially leave here with it wrapped up, said and done? Not by the end of tonight, but by tomorrow.
Potentially.
One category has that option. And it's this one. It's Trofeo Pirelli. Matt Kurzejewski, if he wins everything and gets every pole position and every fastest lap, and there is some misfortune for second in the championship, which I don't even want to put it out there for Roberto Perena, but if Roberto Perena scores no points in one of the races, it could be done.
Well, we will see how it all plays out. We are not very many minutes away from the start of our Trofeo Pirelli race here at Road America. In the Ferrari Challenge North America, it has been a stunning season and continues to be all the way until the championships are wrapped up. And championships, of course, across both Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli&AM, and also Corse and Corse-AM as well. 4 times the value with Ferrari Challenge. Great racing, great entertainment, and just a great atmosphere here at Road America in the sunshine. It's at this moment when the tension and anticipation really begins to ramp up. Imagine us here in our broadcast booth, how we're feeling. What's it like for a driver down there just in the final moments before the race is about to get underway? Well, down there in the hot seat on the hot tarmac right now is Amanda Busick.
And Dave, there are 25 Ferraris behind me that are ready for this command. Drivers, start your Ferrari engines.
So lucky she gets to say that. It never gets old.
No commanding voice and instruction, if ever there was one. There is Matt then. He did what he needed to do very early on in qualifying and banked a P1 lap, and it never got usurped by anyone. So he will be leading the way from pole position for Trofeo Pirelli. For Pirelli&AM, of course, it will be Justin Rothberg. So you can see that the final officials are leaving the assembly area, and the cars will be out behind the Richard Mille safety car for a lap of this 4-mile circuit, which is so demanding. It's demanding of the cars, demanding of the drivers, and demanding of 30 minutes of our attention, because it's going to be a humdinger of a race.
So at the maximum, we could be looking at 15 laps of a race, because it's just over 2 minutes for a lap time. About 2 minutes and 7 was our pole. So if we do run the full 30 minutes of green flag, max 15 laps. That is not very many opportunities to get it wrong, thankfully for these drivers, but 15 laps times 14 corners, that's a lot of opportunities to lose lap times.
The excitement is building right now, because we are ready to go racing with Ferrari Challenge. So as you can see, Matt Kurzejewski there weaving from side to side. So too on a Ferrari Triarsi. They're just trying to build some temperature into those Pirelli tyres ahead of the start of this race. Of course, we'll bring you the grid in full, row by row, whether it's Pirelli or Pirelli&AM drivers. Everyone will get the deserved mention for their achievements during qualifying, which has given them the grid position that they have today. So, as you can see, it's quite an undulating track with lots of elevation changes. It adds to the challenge, forgive the pun, for our Ferrari drivers then in their 488 Challenge Evo cars then. All of a sudden, everyone starts to weave. Here comes row one. It is Mark Kurzejewski and Manny Franco alongside. Here's Shay with row two.
Row two is going to be Onofrio Triarsi and Dylan Medler battling it out to try and get onto that podium position. Row three, Jason McCarthy, race winner 2 times out the last time we raced here in the Trofeo Pirelli category. And in the 6th position, it's Michael Petramalo.
Let's go to row 4 right now of our Trofeo Pirelli grid. P7 for Roberto Perina and John Bennett. One to watch out for potentially from P8.
It's Custodio Toledo and Dave Musial 2.0 in row number 5. And then our Trofeo Pirelli&AM row 1, Justin Rothberg and Tony Davis fighting it out for the championship, starting 1st and 2nd.
Brian Cook and Christopher Cagnazzi on the row behind, ahead of Mark Muzzo and Brad Falver going from P15 and 16.
In 7th place, we find Chuck Whittle and Lawrence Wynn in the 8th position, and 9th and 10th, Dave Musial Sr. That would be the car number 30, and Brandon Cruz making his start.
It's a grid full of talent, including Omar Balkasoon and Michael Porter. The overall grid positions for them, P21 and 22.
Then we have McCade Wang and Michael Mathis rounding out the field at row number 12, Alfred Caiola, a non-starter in today's race.
You have a grid littered with racing talent who are about to do battle over this awesome track in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Can't wait for this to get underway. The safety car leading the cars away, then always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge.
The exit of the carousel where they've just come through, very slippery in races past cars, not even going side by side and still getting pitched off the course. Well off to driver's left. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Amanda, what have you noticed as the cars have rolled off?
Well, I talked about the Trofeo Pirelli&AM class, but you got to give love to that Trofeo Pirelli class. And I know you guys showcased row 1 right there with Matt Kurzejewski and Manny Franco. And I talked about it in qualifying. But Manny Franco, he showed up here, qualified on pole, and won the race. He would go on to qualify on pole for the 2nd race and do the runner-up in that. But it's a different track. And that is what the drivers have been talking about with the new pavement. It's evolved into a track that is same layout, but different in terms of where they can find grip and the speeds that they're seeing. So we'll see how this battle unfolds between 1 and 2 on the grid.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And it reinforces what you were saying, Shay, after the repaving, which they've done a terrific job. It's very much one line. You've got to be very brave to go off the racing line.
Yep, if you're going to make a pass, as Tony Davis mentioned, you have to brake differently because the grip just isn't there off that singular line. So people have to understand the track that they raced here in 2021, that's gone. It might have the same corners and the same spots, but you have to treat it very, very different. And as drivers have said all day today, respect the car, but respect the track.
So double respect needed then. Safety car will peel off into the pit lane to the right-hand side of your screen. It's the responsibility of Matt Kurzejewski and Manny Franco then to control the rolling start as they head towards the timing line then, and these cars will be unleashed for a 30-minute sprint race. It is Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli, the mix of Pirelli and AM drivers then, all in one fantastic race. Let's go racing. Matt Kurzejewski with an awesome start. And there you can see now, is Triarsi going to get the better of Manny Franco? I really rather think he is, going into turn number 1 and convert P3 into P2. And Jason McCarthy also with a very good start as well. All cars going through turn number 1 right now, but Matt Kurzejewski like a proverbial up the road, trying to build something of a margin. Manny Franco very brave, hanging it around the outside. Great job being done there by holding on to that and trying to hold on to it.
And Onofrio Triarsi does make the pass going through turn 3 on Manny Franco up the inside. He had the preferred line. Now Franco trying to draft him back going into turn 5, shows the nose early, well into the braking zone. Triarsi turns down, takes his line. That was not dirty driving there. Manny Franco trying to get the position back, not able to get it done.
Triarsi, of course, is protecting his position. He's got every right to do that. He's got the track position. You want to come round, Manny? Find a way. Manny, unfortunately, on that opportunity, wasn't able to find a way by. Let's ride on board with Manny Franco right now. Heading down towards, and that's part of the undulation of this circuit, uphill and down dale. And then I said a brilliant start from Jason McCarthy, if I'm not mistaken, up to P4, I believe.
I think you're right on that. It was a really good clean start from McCarthy as well, as we now see the rest of the field cycling through. And is it Pirelli who's lost out quite a bit? Yeah, I think Pirelli's down a few positions. Not good for second in the championship, trying to maintain a stranglehold on that spot. Well, it's just gotten a lot harder. Justin Rothberg leading the way in Trofeo Pirelli&AM.
And breaking away a little bit from the driver that we saw there, Tony Davis, who was running in P2, Cook is P3, Cagnazzi P4, it's as we were then. And the cars then, as you see, it's a really long lap here. And there you can see the all-white car and Tony then getting a little, the front end of the car getting a little slippery there.
He might have to adjust his brake bias ever so slightly because the rear end of the car stepped out on Tony Davis. Brian Cook all of a sudden saw an opportunity. Mark Muzzo now up into fourth in that category. Good start by Mark. We watch Custodio Toledo, who has dropped behind 2.0. No, that is Pirelli behind Custodio Toledo, and then 2.0.
So you were right about Pirelli who dropped down the order there. You're absolutely right. So, first lap in the book then, it is Kurzejewski from Triarsi, from Franco, from McCarthy, from Medler, from Petramalo, Pirelli, Toledo, Bennett, and Musial 2.0. Then for our AM drivers, can see Cruz dropping down the order, but it's Rothberg leading from Tony Davis and Brian Cook and Mark Muzzo. And then it's Falva, Cagnazzi, Vittel, and Balcasoon.
Dylan Medler with his hands full of Michael Petramalo. Good battle there as Roberto Pirelli just behind them, trying to fight back forward. P7 for Pirelli. He needs to get up with the battling duo at the front as Triarsi is still all over Matt Kurzejewski. Matt not able to pull away yet.
No, extraordinary that, isn't it? And this is very, very exciting as we're on to the second lap, and we check out the car of Triarsi here then, chasing Matt Kurzejewski, as you say. Gap between them is only just under 8/10.
Bit between the teeth for Triarsi as he is here to win this race only. He doesn't care about the points, but he would like to take the maximum amount of points. Matt Kurzejewski needs to drive safe. I mentioned that he can potentially wrap things up by taking all the points on offer this weekend, but he doesn't have to. So, for Matt Kurzejewski, do you fight a car who has nothing to lose, or do you take second place points? It's a hard decision.
It is a hard decision, and the Ferrari Beverly Hills driver is the driver that's potentially going to have to make that decision if Triarsi can get closer to him. And if you're a racing driver and your mentality is you want to be in front all the time, you know, but sometimes you do need to use your head and think, do you know what, discretion, the better part of valor, it's not going to take points away from me, really.
The biggest advantage for Matt Kurzejewski is his driver coach, because he has Alessandro Balzan, a multi-time champion in many different iterations of race cars, a multi-time Ferrari champion, a winner of the 12 Hours of Sebring, the 6 Hours of the Glen, Petit Le Mans, in his ear to say, maybe not now.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't fight this fight. And Balzan knows which fights to go after.
Roberto Pirelli is really taking it to Michael Petramalo now. This is the battle that's going on for P6 and P7 in Trofeo Pirelli. Look how close these are now. They're really squeezed up together as they're heading towards the right-hander, which is turn number 1 right now, carrying so much speed here. Now, did Pirelli just think about taking a look to the inside? I don't think he did in reality, but very, very close indeed. And you can see the margin down by just under 3/10 between the two of them. Real fight going on here, and some brilliant driving from Petramalo, whose rear view screen is going to be full of that car of Pirelli.
Red and white will be all he can see, because there is no gap to see any green from the grass or indeed the gray from the tarmac. It is all Roberto Pirelli in the rearview mirror. Roberto now thinking about having a look going into turn 5. Petramalo moves early to let him know, do not attempt it here. I'm not giving you the position to turn 5. Keep trying. Please call again later.
One thing we can notice is illuminating like a firework display early on is the brake discs or the rotors that are really lighting up, because there is so much braking force being used on this 4-mile circuit here, where the undulations mean there are so many high-speed sections, but then you've got to scrub that speed off, and you big demand of the brakes.
There are 4 very, very heavy brake zones around this track, so it's no wonder that the brakes are alight as they are right now. But the good news is that there is lots of straight and lots of opportunity for the air to come into the car and cool them down.
So Matt Kurzejewski then, he's beginning to build just a little bit of a margin down. Justin Rothberg in the all-white car here is trying to do exactly the same from Tony Davis, who's running P2 for Continental Autosports. Good driving from Tony Davis. We saw the front end of the car. I'm sure you're right. He's made an adjustment to the brake bias because the back end was getting away from him. He's been able to control it really, really well, and he's in a very good position in that P2, although he's not encroaching too much on Justin Rothberg, who set the fastest lap so far in class, and of course it's Matt Kurzejewski setting the fastest lap in class for Trofeo Pirelli thus far.
And those are bonus points.
Of
1
course.
point for each of those for the fastest lap, and both of the guys with the fastest lap on right now, championship leaders. So you've got to count that towards them as well.
So the 1, 2, 3, you can see here, Kurzejewski, Triarsi, and Manny Franco. There is our race leader, car number 21, Matt Kurzejewski, who came into the Ferrari Challenge this year. I saw the talent when he was racing in the Ferrari Challenge Winter Series out in the Middle East in January or February, and you could tell the talent was there. There's no question about that. And of course, a very experienced driver who's not only been on road courses but ovals as well. He knows how to pedal a car, and he's proved that time and time again. And Triarsi's got his work cut out trying to keep on terms with him. Initially, he was able to do that, but right now he's having to push very, very hard. The gap is 1.2 seconds between P1 and P2, and then it's similar back to Manny Franco, who's running P3.
The interesting thing, though, that last lap around, Manny Franco was the fastest guy on the track. He didn't better the best lap time, but he was quicker than the two ahead of him. He took 3/10 out of Matt Kurzejewski the last lap around. So Manny Franco is settling into a good rhythm, finding his own pace, and now we're starting to see the turbo boost turned up from that guy.
Well, we're right on board with this split screen shot. Then you can see right inside the 488 Challenge Evo and what Manny Franco is doing inside that car and how it relates to how the car performs out there on track by splitting this screen. I love this shot. Absolutely brilliant. You're right, it's actually visible now how Manny Franco is really beginning to reel in on a Triarsi like he's on the end of a fishing line. So this is going to be really, really exciting for P2 in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli.
As we are nearly 1/3 of the race distance complete, and that will elapse after 4 laps. So that means we should get 12 laps worth of a race.
Always a bonus. And just in the background there, you can see Jason McCarthy for the Wide World Ferrari, currently running in P4. Now, when it comes to Pirelli&AM drivers, it is Rothberg from Davis from Cook. It's as we were. They are the top 3 with Mark Muzzo P4 and Chris Cagnazzi P5.
Let's see how close Cook is to Davis, though, because at the end of the last lap, they were separated by not very much at all. So you've got to imagine that poor Tony Davis this whole last lap has had green and gray and black in his rearview camera.
So then we await the cars riding over the crest then.
There we go.
Here is Justin Rothberg in the all-white car, center screen right now. Then it is Tony Davis, and then it is Ryan Cook, and there the gap between them, you know, it is increased, but it's increased by 6/100ths. I mean, it's tiny, isn't it?
And Mark Muzzo, the Canadian's right there as well, so it is fully on.
And the thing is, for Cook here, what he's trying to do, he's trying to attack Tony Davis, but he's got to be ever minded of the fact that he's got Mark Muzzo almost up his trumpet, and the more you attack, that allows Muzzo to get a bit closer. So he's like the meat in the sandwich here. He's trying to attack and defend at the same time, Shay.
And he's also aware that the guy who's out front is the guy that all 3 of them are trying to catch, which is Justin Rothberg. And you don't want to battle amongst yourselves and give the advantage to the car out front.
Yes, at the moment, Rothberg is the one that's probably rubbing his hands with invisible soap, isn't he? Just thinking, thanks very much, you know, I've got a bit of a cushion. And he, you know, will be delighted that they're fighting as hard as they are, because it just means that he can try and escape up the road and get on terms with Dave Musial 2.0, who is a Pirelli driver, but he's not far out of the clutches of Justin Rothberg right now.
No, and Musial 2.0, a champion in almost every iteration of Ferrari Challenge that he's come through. So it's a very good person to be aiming for Justin Rothberg, a guy who told us before the race began that his dad and his coach told him to be careful. Big move going there for, is that Cruz coming through? Brandon Cruz getting passed by Michael Petromalo.
Well,
no, Michael Porter.
Yes.
Michael Porter with a great move.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? And there you can see just behind them is Michael Mathis. So that was a brave move around the outside, Shay.
At the carousel, very brave point in time to try and get that done. But Michael Porter does make the pass and makes it stick, now setting his sights on the next car ahead, who's Chuck Whittle.
Has that laid any encouragement down to Michael Mathis to try and do exactly the same? Who knows? There is the number 68 car of Chuck Whittle. that Shay was talking about. Currently running P11 in the Trofeo Pirelli&AM class at the moment. And there the number 68 car, as you can see. Brilliant livery across that car. Love the shimmering blue of that 488 Challenge Evo and the way it molds itself into the grey right at the back end. And who's coming calling? It is the number 22 car, Michael Porter, right now, who, as you say, has got the proverbial bit between his teeth.
He is fired up. After that morning session in qualifying, Michael Porter not getting the qualifying he wanted, and now making up for it. Chuck Whittle with the bright blue car, just trying to stay ahead, minding his own business. Beautiful Saturday afternoon drive through the Wisconsin countryside. No, it's not. It is flat out as fast as you can go. The last lap around was the fastest lap from Justin Rothberg. Tony Davis actually a bit slow on that lap, 2:11.1 compared to a 2:10.9 from Cookie. So we are seeing a bit of a comeback.
This is going to be a three-way fight for that P2 position in Trofeo Pirelli&AM as we follow that right now. It's Davis from Cook from Muzzo. It's Muzzo we can see here in the number 13 car who blessed us with a feature earlier on in our program, chasing down Brian Cook right now. Tony Davis trying to keep on terms with Justin Rothberg, the Ferrari at Palm Beach driver, who's led from the off, did all the hard work arguably in qualifying and has really cemented that. He's last time around had a gap of some 1.7 seconds between himself and Tony Davis chasing in P2. Spookily, the gaps between P1 and P2 are pretty similar in both Pirelli and Pirelli&AM, but you can see that I mentioned just a few moments ago that I felt Rothberg was getting closer to Musial 2.0, and I think that really is the case. And if Justin Rothberg could put a Pirelli driver between himself and his next challenging AM driver, it gives him such a cushion, Shay.
It really does. It's a giant sigh of relief, but Dave Musial 2.0 will not want to be the sigh of relief because he's focusing forward, trying to get up to John Bennett, who's trying to get to Custodio Toledo.
In my opinion, this man, Dave Musial Jr., the Ferrari Lake Forest driver, who is such a talented driver, he was one that was really caught out by qualifying and the early suspension of qualifying earlier on. And you and I were talking about, you know, how you adopt yourself for qualifying. And Dave was one of those that didn't bank a good lap early on and therefore got called out when the session was suspended.
Tony Davis has just fired it up. He just did the fastest lap of the category. So here we go. The battle is on. But yes, you're correct. Musial 2.0 coming down the pit lane during qualifying, losing the ability to get in a fast lap before everyone else did. So that is ultimately what happened.
All of a sudden, where Tony Davis has found pace.
0.8 of a second last lap.
To pick up on what you were saying, Shay, my goodness me, look at the gap evolution. This is game on for P1 in Trofeo Pirelli&AM, potentially.
And Tony Davis bringing Brian Cook and Mark Muzzo with him, and Chris Cagnazzi not too far behind as Muzzo decides to have a look at Davis, at Cook, and cannot get it done. That was a very optimistic moment there.
Well, it was, but if nothing else, psychologically, what he'd be hoping to do is really worry Davis ahead, worry Cook ahead, I beg your pardon, but Cook is not one for being worried. It's, come on and have a go if you think you're hard enough, you know, and certainly at that point he wouldn't have been able to make an overtake. It's a lot is psychological. I cannot get over, and I just wonder, and I'm not taking anything away from the incredible prowess of Tony Davis, whether Justin Rothberg made just a little bit of a tiny error somewhere along the line and lost a bit of pace.
He turned a lap time nearly identical to what Dave Musial 2.0 did that same lap, though. So the two drivers very much in sync with one another. It's not as if Rothberg got frazzled by seeing Musial.
No.
It was just a great lap from Tony Davis.
Well done, Tony, and he is really flying now. And you know, all of a sudden, when you can see your target getting ever closer, or you know, you find pace from nowhere.
It's true. The effect is real. The I want to catch that and go past it effect. I have suffered from that as well. But the good news for Justin Rothberg is he still has the position. The bad news is Tony Davis wants it. And Tony Davis is kind of a hometown hero around here.
And of course, as we have been saying, you know, it's all very well being quick as the car in front of you. To find a way by is a whole different challenge.
It's true.
Particularly following the re-asphalting of the surface here. But look at this. Tony Davis is right on him now. This is for P1 in Trofeo Pirelli&AM. So Tony Davis then, he has taken, look at that, a full 5/10 out of Justin Rothberg. So Rothberg playing it cool, but playing it perhaps a little bit too cool. And that has played into the hands of Tony Davis, who can almost sense his prey and the flavour of that prey ahead of him. Where is Tony's best opportunity on this track going to be, Shay?
He's too far back to make the attempt at turn 5 this lap around, so he's going to have to be patient, get a good run through the kink, and then have a look into turn 9. If he can't get it done at turn 9, stay patient, stay behind him up the long straight, and then have a dive going into turn number 1.
Well, we will see if that is going to be where it's going to come, but well, Justin Rothberg, he will be more than well aware of the fact that he's there. Of course he will. His rear view mirrors will be full of the Tony Davis car and livery. And Tony Davis is, what he's going to try and do is just provoke a small error of judgment from Justin Rothberg, because that's all he needs.
And he just has, because Rothberg's line through the carousel not nearly as clean as what Tony Davis was able to do. Davis not using all the exit curve, though. He's not getting as much speed out of the car as he can through the carousel. Now we go through the kink. Better line for Davis slightly than Rothberg, but he's not close enough to be able to have a look into Canada. I think he needs to be patient here, Dave, and wait until the opportunity on the end of the front straight.
Well, I'll tell you what, he looks like he is really sussing this out, if I can use that expression, because Justin Rothberg, you can almost sense his driving just a little bit more defensively here, because of course he is protecting his track position, and somehow out of nowhere Tony Davis has really come along and is really providing a threat now. And what would be ideal is for Rothberg to be even closer to UCL 2.0, but that isn't going to happen. I think, what have we got, 12 and a half minutes of the race remaining. Now you can see that the gap between the two of them is just 6 3/4 tenths.
Rothberg just set his personal best time that last lap around. It gave a little bit of the gap back. Tony Davis dropping off just a tiny little bit. Not sure where around the track he's losing that time. Back end of the car is still very unstable under braking for Tony, so perhaps a little bit more rear brake bias would help.
There are some drivers, Shay, it's true to say, prefer a loose front end and a tighter back end. There are some drivers that prefer absolutely the reverse of that. And I just wonder whether Tony is a driver that can deal with oversteer better than he can deal with understeer.
Well, you never want the back end of the car going toward the wall first. You prefer the front end of the car going. And Matt Kurzejewski with the fast lap of the race last time around, he reset that. So again, claiming that bonus point, right now he looks to be gaining 17 points out of today, 15 potentially for a race win, 1 for the pole and 1 for the fast lap. Who can do something about that? The gap back to Onofrio Triarsi just under 9/10 of a second, and then Manny Franco in third. They have a good gap back to Jason McCarthy, so the top 3 set for now as we are past halfway in this race.
Yes, we are, with just over 11 minutes of the race remaining. Let's focus there on the number 18 car of the Ferrari Lake Forest driver that is Manny Franco, who has had success, significant success at this very circuit. He's in P3 currently. Kurzejewski leading from Onofrio Triarsi, the Ferrari of Central Florida driver, who's steadfast in that P2 position. In my opinion, Matt Kurzejewski just setting another fastest lap. I think he seems to have this completely under control, but then what do I know?
It's never under control until the checkered flag is out and you
right.
cross the line. And that is a very valuable lesson at this place. A lot of people run out of fuel in endurance racing at this track because, as I mentioned, it's all uphill from Canada Corner. You can't just push the clutch and coast. So that has been a feature of Road America for many, many years now. Now, shouldn't be a problem for a 30-minute race. And if it is, well, somebody needs to be addressed. But the battles continue on the track as Custodio Toledo, John Bennett, and Dave Musial 2.0 are stringing together now.
Yes, they're lining up here, aren't they? This is P8, 9, 10 within class then. Dave Musial 2.0 just taking a look. Tony Davis getting even closer now to Justin Rothberg. The gap in that Pirelli&AM battle is down to just 3/10 as we focus on this battle for P8 in Trofeo. Pirelli, all of a sudden, Dave Musial Jr. has got the hurry up, and here comes Tony Davis with an overtake potential on Justin Rothberg. This is going to be big, brave, and bold, and is it going to work, Shay?
He's on the preferred line side of the track. It's going to be difficult for Rothberg as Davis gets squirrely under braking, can't get the car slowed down, has to go wide through turn 5, manages to keep it on the pavement. That will create a tiny bit of a gap between the two drivers, but not that bad. Rothberg going defensive to try and get on the side of the track with the apex. Oh, Davis has stuff on his tires now. He has a problem, and Brian Cook is going to get by.
Tony Davis, a brilliant, ambitious, bold effort to do so, but it's cost him dearly because now Cook taking a look at the inside here. They go absolutely side by side. Racing room just is left for Tony Davis, who loses out also to Mark Muzzo.
That's what happens when you run wide at turn 5. You get debris on your tires, and no matter how good your Pirellis are, trying to scrub that back off, not the work of a second, and that is how quickly your day can go from great to not so great. Amanda, you've got some more on Tony?
Yeah, it's great to see that he's back being aggressive. He had a little off in Sonoma that really got into his head. He actually spent some time with Manny Franco over the course of 2 days to talk about just how to get back into the mindset of a race car driver. Here he goes again.
Tony Davis having a look down the inside of Mark Muzzo at Canada corner, but Mark managing to hold on to the position. Tony needs to spend some time cleaning his tires off, but he is still super racy. Chris Cagnazzi having a look at him now.
Tony Davis is obviously he is in a state of mind that is going to go forward, and I mean, I have to say, I take my hat off to him for having a go at Justin Rothberg, but it just didn't pay off, and he ended up costing him dearly, and he's trying to recover those places now. It seems almost unthinkable as now you can see that Chris Cagnazzi just shown his face to the inside. Tony Davis now following Mark Muzzo, and unbelievably, Tony Davis is not in a podium place currently. We do still have 7 3/4 minutes of this race, and I would have thought by now the tyres should be up to optimum in terms of cleanliness following his off, so hopefully he'll be able to regain and revisit that pace that he had earlier. But of course, for Justin Rothberg, it's been absolutely brilliant news because Rothberg has now got a margin of some 2.5 seconds back to the guy that's in P2, which is Brian Cook, who we can see send a picture right now.
The pressure is off of Rothberg at this point, and he needs to, well, not just coast to the end. There's still 7 minutes and 15 seconds for him to try and compete. But for Cook, now the gap 2.4 seconds back to second. So it is a good variety for them. For Tony Davis, the problem comes not so much the cleanliness of the tires, but trying to get them clean, because where he went off is a source of a lot of issue for people around the track. There tend to be a lot of big accidents going into turn 5, right. So there is a lot of debris, a lot of stones, and a lot of tire rubber that comes off of that particular portion. The Pirellis are so good when they're hot that they pick up everything, so it would take a while for him to get rid of the vibration that would be there just from all the clag, as David Hobbs would call it.
Yes. Well, has he got rid of it? I would have suggested so, because his pace looks back to where we'd seen it previously. Of course, as I've said so many times before, it's all very well being as quick as the car in front. He's got to find a way by, and it was through his efforts to try and find a way through and by Justin Rothberg as he tries to scrub off the speed now, and wasn't quite close enough, but that was going to be a really, really iffy place to overtake anyway, wasn't it, Shay?
He'll have a better opportunity drafting Mark Muzzo down the entire front straight and then having a look going into turn 1. That would be his ideal opportune moment.
Well, there he is. Just see the 3 cars that are Custodio Toledo, John Bennett, Dave Musial 2.0. They're running for the 8, 9, and 10 in Trofeo Pirelli. Followed hot on the heels by the all-white car of Justin Rothberg for Ferrari of Palm Beach, who is P1. Then it's Brian Cook and Mark Muzzo then, who are the top 3 in Trofeo Pirelli&AM. We've got just under 5 3/4 minutes remaining in this Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race, which has been utterly compelling from the moment the flag went to green.
We've got a 1.2 second gap for the lead now for Matt Kurzejewski over Onofrio Triarsi, and then Manny Franco 1.8 seconds behind Triarsi. So a good gap between those top 3 for the 3 podium positions.
And you can see there John Bennett really taking a look now at Custodio Toledo, who is having to be very, very defensive in protecting that P8 position in his collection car, because John Bennett, the Foreign Cars Italia driver, who we heard from, of course, earlier on in the program, has really got it together now and is chasing down to try and wrestle away that P8 position from Custodio Toledo.
Part of why I love this series so much, you've got drivers with different experience levels. Custodio Toledo did his first ever race last March.
Yes.
You've got John Bennett, who's been racing for a lot longer than that, and watching their lines, watching the way that they are sizing each other up, whether it's to defend or to attack. It's just great to see the sharing between all the different drivers of the experience levels.
And I think when you look at the graphics that we can see on the left-hand side of the screen here, just testament to how good these drivers are. The movement in terms of positions is very, very little. There's no huge numbers there.
Omar Balkasoon, hats off to him, as the Star Wars liveried car has gained 5 positions in this race today. That is the biggest number that we've seen, and he has been just kind of quietly going about. Another one of those drivers, Dave,
Yes.
who just didn't get the run of it in qualifying, making up for it in the race and really doing a fantastic job.
I agree with you. So we continue to follow this battle that's going on between Toledo and Bennett and Musial 2.0 then for P8, 9 and 10 in Trofeo Pirelli as they climb up the hill now. And here is our race leader, Mark Kurzejewski, who had just a bit of a wobble there, and Triarsi is getting a bit closer, Shay.
He is. That is not quite a second between the two drivers anymore. Well, it might be just about it now, but Onofrio, really good lap the last time around, took 2/10 out of the leader, and all of a sudden, it's not all said and done.
And this is often the case. Just when we think that it's all done and dusted, it jolly well isn't all done and dusted.
And it's definitely not done and dusted in Trofeo Pirelli&AM, because after having a 2.5-second lead 2 laps ago, Justin Rothberg is only 1.5 seconds ahead of Cookie.
Okay, so this is Mark Kurzejewski then, leading in Trofeo Pirelli by just a second over Onofrio Triarsi, then the Ferrari of Central Florida driver, who is chasing him for all he's worth over the final 3 minutes of this race in Ferrari Challenge. Race 1 of 2 for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli here at Road America. Justin Rothberg, Brian Cook, Mark Muzzo, the top 3 in Trofeo Pirelli&AM, but Triarsi here, it's really coming to him towards the end of the race, and this is Manny Franco, who's running P3, so podium place for Manny Franco at the moment, if everything stays the way it is at the moment, and we've got 2.5 minutes remaining.
You mentioned Onofrio Triarsi with Ferrari of Central Florida. It's actually a little bit more special to him than that. There's a family connection to that dealership in that he and his family are very much associated with it and have a lot to do with its running. So it means a little bit extra special to win something for your family. And that's what Onofrio is fighting for right now. Justin Rothberg leading the way over Brian Cook, but now they are available in the same camera shot. Thank you very much.
So it is Rothberg, Cook, Muzzo, then it is Tony Davis who had that bold move in trying to get by Justin Rothberg, which didn't pay off and actually cost him a potential appearance on a podium as well, as we start the final lap now. Where has 30 minutes of Ferrari Challenge racing gone? It's gone in lots and lots of entertainment that we've seen from the green flag coming down.
And how wonderful is it to say that that's the only flag that we've seen?
Yes.
I know I'm risking it saying it on the final lap, but it's been a wonderful race where the competitors have been allowed to just go flat out the entire way through.
Yes, done a really, really good job. And wherever we've pointed our multiple cameras around this place, it's been awesome to watch. And, well, Tony Davis, I think you're laughing because he's not given up yet, Shay.
Nope, he hasn't. He already had the point for the fastest lap, but he's just reset that to try and gain on Mark Muzzo and regain a podium position.
Onofrio, look at this. All of a sudden, he's got within 7/10 of Mark Kurzejewski. Now, Matt is wily, and he knows how to make that 488 Challenge Evo even a tad wider than it really is and sticking his metaphorical elbows out. But Onofrio is really going for it here, and fair play, because, you know, P1 is always going to be better than P2, and if he can sense the potential and possibility of getting that P1 place, he's going to go for it, and all credit to him for that.
It's all about bringing home the biggest trophy you can to the family, and that's what Onofrio wants to do to his little one waiting back at home. So he is fighting as hard as he can to try and get that first place away from Matt Kurzejewski, Manny Franco a little bit further behind them. Let's see what they do through Canada Corner, because Onofrio really with 2 more opportunities can't get it done in Canada. What can he do in the final run up the hill?
Well, let's watch, and holding on to the edge of our seats here in our comm studio, because this has been something of an extraordinary race as Onofrio very nearly clattered into the back of Mark Kurzejewski, but discretion the better part of valor. He dialed out of that because he knew it would be curtains as Mark Kurzejewski heads towards the checkered flag and banks yet another win in his remarkable season with Triarsi P2 and Manny Franco P3. Wow, that came close towards the climb up that hill, Shay.
That was iffy there for a couple of seconds, and now we turn our focus back to Trofeo Pirelli&AM, where Justin Rothberg with the lead. How close is Brian Cook in second? Well, the number 3 a bit too far back. Then Mark Muzzo, then Tony Davis, and then Chris Cagnazzi. Will there be any change in the lineup? No, it is Justin Rothberg who sees the checkered flag yet again this year to claim another win, his 5th of the season.
What a race it was in Pirelli&AM as well, with Rothberg, Cook, Muzzo and Davis, the top 4 ahead of Cagnazzi and Balcasoon and Falva. My goodness me, there was something, there was everything in that Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race. Well done to both our winners, Mark Kurzejewski in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, and this young man, Justin Rothberg in Pirelli&AM. Wow.
Is Matt Kurzejewski going to do some donuts, or is he taking the shortcut back to the paddock? Yep, shortcut back to the paddock, because the guys will not complete an entire cool-down lap around the track, and they are going straight through turn 5 to make it over to the area where we will celebrate a little bit later on for the podiums.
Well, brilliant. What an awesome Trofeo Pirelli race that was in both categories. Super stuff. Well done to Mark Kurzejewski on R3O. Triarsi and Manny Franco, the top 3 in Trofeo Pirelli. The top 3 in Trofeo Pirelli&AM, Justin Rothberg, Brian Cook and Mark Muzzo. That's how it was then, but each and every one of the drivers given us a real entertainment spectacle, and we had lots and lots to talk about during the course of that race, and wherever we looked, there was plenty of battles going on indeed. Fantastic stuff. Well done to all the drivers. Justin Rothberg for Ferrari Palm Beach, then the winner for Trofeo Pirelli&AM in that number 29 car, heading towards the podium area right now. He's going to park the car up there, center stage, behind the number P1. And he's entitled to do that by dint of the fact that he won the race. And well done, Justin. Did keep his calm, cool, a collected head during the course of that race. He's out of the car right now. He's about 7 foot tall, you know, is Justin Rothberg. He's a huge, huge chap. Congratulated there by the head of Ferrari Challenge here in North America, and there we'll see the crash helmet and hands device come off and waving to everyone. He'll be pretty pleased with that, I'm sure.
I think his dad and his driver coach will be even more pleased. He brought the car home in one piece, and he did exactly what they told him to.
Yeah.
Drive defensively, drive smart, and go get the big trophy.
Yes, smart being the operative word, and that's precisely what he did. Well done indeed.
And now our race winner making it over to the podium as well, pulling in, loosening off the belts. Glad to see he didn't do that early. Sometimes we get drivers who like to loosen off their belts before they get back to a secure area. But Matt is there, and he's being greeted by Louis to celebrate yet another victory.
Louis Colmash, who is in charge of the Ferrari Challenge then, and if ever there was a man passionate about Ferrari Challenge, then it's him with a capital P, like all of us. So, yeah, no question about that. Right, Justin Rothberg then, he did everything that was asked of him, and he's with Amanda Busick right now.
Well, Dave, not only was he waving to the audience, he was waving to himself on the big board there when he got out of his Ferrari. And Justin, we talked to you at the top of this show if it was going to be offense or defense today, and you said defense. Talk about that defense against you and Tony Davis.
It definitely was defense. He was on my bumper for most of the race and had a lot of pressure on me, but towards the end got a little gap, and it worked out.
Congratulations to Justin Rothberg extending that championship lead.
And barely a bead of sweat. Well done, Justin. Brilliant job done there. And Justin Rothberg then taking the win for Ferrari Palm Beach in Trofeo Pirelli&AM ahead of Brian Cook and Mark Muzzo. Those are the top 3 in Pirelli&AM. In Pirelli, of course, it is Manny Franco, P3, Onofrio, Triarsi, P2, Mark Kurzejewski for Ferrari Beverly Hills, P1. It's a tidy mantelpiece in the Kurzejewski home, you know, which is bowing under the pressure of trophies.
Well, I was going to say I can relate to that issue, and maybe the sentiment we should get a bigger house if you keep getting all these trophies has been used in their household as well. As Mark Kurzejewski with a great season, as now that is 6 wins, 3 second places, 5 poles, 1 fast lap, 2 fast laps, and only 1 DNF. Let's hear from the man of the hour with Amanda.
Well, Shea, he could hear every single one of those stats that you just said out loud, and I was just talking to you off camera about those last couple of laps. Man, Trofeo Triarsi was all in your rearview mirror. Talk about going around Road America with that kind of pressure.
Yeah, haven't raced with him before. That was a pleasure. Can't wait to do it again tomorrow. No, really, it was good. The car's been great. Road America's new repave's incredible. Started off to a great start, and thought I was just hanging out and doing my thing today like I have on the past couple, and saw some lights flash in my rearview mirror. Usually that doesn't mean hello. So anyway, here we are. We'll do it again tomorrow, hopefully.
Well, I think that would be a gift for all of us. And just so you know, here at Hospitality, you all had an audience here watching that race.
Doesn't mean hello. I'm pretty sure that is what it means. That's what I mean when I flash my lights. What about you, Dave?
Yes, Ale Balzan. I'm not going to get into flashing. Ale Balzan offering congratulations. Right, Trofeo Pirelli. Here's confirmed results. And Mark Kurzejewski taking the win. Onofrio Triarsi taking P2, Manny Franco P3, Jason McCarthy P4, Dylan Medler 5, Michael Petromalo P6, Roberto Perena P7, Custodio Toledo 8, John Bennett P9, Dave Musial Jr. then in P10. That's the Trofeo Pirelli classification. Now let's go Pirelli&AM with Justin Rothberg, Brian Cook, Mark Muzzo, the 1-2-3 ahead of Tony Davis, Christopher Cagnazzi, Omar Balkassi, and then it was Brad Falver, Dave Musial, then it was Lawrence Wynn, McCade Wang then, and after them came Michael Mathis, Chuck Whittle, Michael Porter, Brandon Cruz, and regrettably not starting was Alfred Caiola. So there is confirmation of the classification from our first race here at Road America this weekend for our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli cars and drivers. And let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship points, because it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Mark Kurzejewski then in a position where he's got a 39-point lead now over Jason McCarthy, who of course finished that race P4. Then dropping down a position, Roberto Perena, and then it's Dylan Medler and Manny Franco, and the rest of the order that you can see in the graphic. So Mark Kurzejewski in a very, he's in a good position, but he's not in an unassailable position.
He is, and that's the interesting thing after today. The change between Perena and McCarthy is possibly the most unexpected part of today's race, I have to say. In Pirelli&AM, though, well, that's a different situation, because we had the guys at the head of the championship with pretty good days. Justin Rothberg maintains that position out front. Tony Davis, 29 points back. Now remember, there's only 38 points on offer for a weekend. So if he gaps Tony Davis by just 9 more points, that would be the championship all said and done. But a couple of movers a little bit further down the charts, but the top, that's where the interest is.
You're absolutely right. Great to see those points. Great to see who's doing what and where. From Shea and from myself, thank you so much for watching what was a supreme race from Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Bye-bye for now.